Daddy, why am I so short?
Son, you can measure height, but you cannot measure heart.
How has height evolved and why? Early humans in Africa around 1.5 to 2 million years ago stood at around 5'1" to 5'3". It was originally thought that a development of longer limbs allowed early humans to migrate out of Africa and into Eurasia. Longer limbs supposedly would have allowed humans to become more mobile and change their diet.
However, this is no longer the case, as fossil evidence shows that human height diversified before humans were able to migrate. Compared to earlier hominids, several thousand years ago, we are shorter in stature. The first loss in height came when humans began developing agriculture. A reliance on a few crops led to malnutrition, reducing average heights.
But in recent years, as overall nutrition, sanitation, and medicine have improved, the average human height has seen an increasing trend. This begs the question, what selective advantages drove height variability?
So what are the selective advantages to being tall or short? For early humans, their environment determined if being tall or short was selectively advantageous. In an African savanna, taller people would have a selective advantage, as longer legs allowed them to run faster. Running faster would allow them to hunt better and escape predators. In a more arid climate with less precipitation and more competition for food, a smaller stature would allow you to get away with less food, which is also a selective advantage.
In an article written by Adam Hadhazy on BBC, he wrote that in a more aggressive society, the larger you are, the more you are able to compete for food and mates. However, in cooperative societies, shorter people were found to have an advantage due to their understanding of conversation in society, developed after constant observation of a world dominated by those who tended to be larger.
How does gender affect height? Human females on average are 4 inches shorter than males. The global population average for males is 5'6" and 5'2" for females. Males become taller over time for several reasons. The first is through sexual selection. Males who are more physically imposing were more impressive to females. The difference in height for the sexes diverged more in aggressive societies and less in cooperative societies. Variance in height between genders also grew because males generally had longer legs if they were taller, and therefore were faster. These faster males were able to hunt better and therefore had a survival advantage.
This graph shows the distribution of male and female heights. Both distributions are approximately normal, yet it is clear that males tend to be taller.
Why does height differ by race? Catherine Hartzell at Stanford University conducted a study of heights of different races in the Americas. Typically, Caucasian American children of European descent tended to be taller than children of Mayan descent. In her research, she looked for specific genetic markers that coded for height, but was unable to find any specific genes that coded for height. In fact, most of the genes that were known to code for height were the same across all races.
The only difference between the races are the environment that their children grew up in. This makes up most of the difference in height between races. Diet across races differs so much that children in different races end up getting varying amounts of the nutrients that they need in their early stages of development. Because of this, Asians tend to be shorter because of their lack of variance in their diet.
This is an interesting picture of soldiers from different countries across the world. It shows the varying heights of people based on their origin. On the left, you see the taller American and British troops, while on the right, you see a shorter Japanese soldier.
Is height purely genetic?
Height is not purely genetic. According to molecular biologist Chao Qing Lai at Tufts University, height is 60 to 80% genetic, with the other 20 to 40% coming from environmental factors. The biggest environmental factor is nutrition. Adequate protein, calcium, vitamin A, and vitamin D must be consumed in order to maximize height. In addition, proper sleep and exercise are essential.
So as you can see here, this graph is about the Big Bang. So if you look at the x-axis, it talks about the weighted genetic score. So
Sai, what are you talking about? Just shut up.
All of this begs the question, are humans getting taller? Over the past 150 years, the average height of people in industrialized nations has increased 4 inches, according to the Scientific American. We know from studies conducted in industrial England that children born into lower socioeconomic classes were shorter, on average, than children born into wealthy families. We also know that poorer families had larger numbers of children. The average population should have become shorter because the shorter individuals in the population were, from an evolutionary perspective, more successful in passing on their genes. But this did not happen. Instead, all segments of the population, rich and poor, increased in height.
Thus, we cannot use natural selection to explain why we have grown in the past couple of centuries. Instead, scientists look towards the diets of children and how they have improved to explain growth. Because of this, it is very likely that we have capped off our species' growth for the time being. Our genes specify what is possible given any optimum environment, and scientists are pretty certain that we will all not become shacks anytime soon.